You can train your mind just like you train your body. And if you don't, your thoughts will control you instead of the other way around. Every single day, your mind decides how you feel, what you believe, and whether you take action or make excuses. But when was the last time you actually worked on strengthening it? Most people try to change their lives without ever working on their thinking. That's why they stay stuck. In this video, we're going to talk about how to take real control of your thoughts and push through the doubts that try to hold you back. Have you ever felt like something inside you is pulling you away from your goals? That's not weakness. That's an untrained mind. What if the only thing standing between you and the life you want is learning how to master your thinking? Stick around. This will change how you approach everything. Number 1, commit daily effort to calm and focus your mind, to train your mind. The first thing you must do is commit to daily effort. We are creatures of habit, and most of us think we have it all together when we're really just going through the motions. Every day you face challenges, distractions, and obstacles that threaten to scatter your thoughts, cloud your vision, and drain your energy. What many people don't realize is that the battle for success starts in the mind. If you want to grow, if you want to change, if you want to achieve something truly meaningful, you must commit to taking control of your mind. You must make an active decision to calm and focus it. Think about it for a moment. Your mind is like a wild horse. It's powerful, untamed, and it can either work for you or against you. The question is, who's in charge here? If you're not putting in daily effort to train your mind, then your mind will run wild. It will control you instead of you controlling it. It will be filled with doubts, fears, distractions, and negativity. That's why training your mind is non-negotiable if you want to succeed. The first step in training your mind is to commit to daily effort. This isn't a one-time thing, folks. This is something that needs to be a part of your daily routine. It requires consistency and it requires discipline. You don't wake up one morning and suddenly have a calm, focused mind. It takes time, practice, and commitment to make it a habit. And that's what you need to do. Make it a habit. Let's be real here for a moment. Life isn't going to make it easy for you. You will face distractions. You will face setbacks. You will have days when you feel like everything is falling apart. But the people who make it, the people who reach their goals, the people who achieve success, they are the ones who commit to training their mind even on the toughest days. They do it because they understand that success is not just about working hard. It's about working smart. It's about managing your mind so it can serve you instead of controlling you. Now let's talk about the importance of calming your mind. I'm not talking about just sitting there and zoning out. I'm talking about taking active steps to create space in your mind, to quiet the noise and to focus. Your mind is constantly bombarded by thoughts. Some of them are helpful, but many of them are distractions. They keep you from being present. They keep you from focusing on what matters. If you want to be successful, you need to learn how to calm your mind and bring it into alignment with your goals. Think about how much mental energy you waste on negative thoughts, worries, and distractions. It's a lot, isn't it? Now imagine how much more you could accomplish if you could take all that energy and focus it on the things that matter most. Imagine being able to control your thoughts instead of letting your thoughts control you. This is where the real power lies. The ability to calm your mind allows you to focus, and focusing is what leads to productivity and results. The next step in committing to daily effort is learning how to focus. Focus is the key to success in every area of your life. Whether you're trying to improve your health, grow your business, or become a better person, focus is what allows you to stay on track. Without it, you'll be scattered, jumping from one thing to another, never truly accomplishing anything. When you focus, you harness the power of your mind to push through obstacles and challenges. You align your thoughts, actions, and energy toward your goal, and you keep going until you achieve it. But focus doesn't come naturally for most people. It's something you have to work on. You have to train your mind to focus on the right things at the right time. This takes daily effort, and it takes discipline. It means saying no to distractions, putting aside the things that don't matter, and putting your full attention on what you're doing. When you commit to daily effort, you're also committing to building mental resilience. Life is tough. You will face challenges. You will encounter setbacks. But how you respond to these challenges will determine your success. Mental resilience is the ability to stay calm and focused in the face of adversity. It's the ability to push through difficult times without giving up or losing your composure. Building mental resilience doesn't happen overnight. It happens by training your mind every day to stay strong, stay calm, and stay focused on the end goal. It happens by embracing discomfort and pushing yourself to grow. When you commit to daily effort, you're building this resilience every day. Training your mind is also about creating positive mental habits. The thoughts you think every day shape who you become. If you think negative thoughts, you'll become a negative person. If you think positive thoughts, you'll become a positive person. It's that simple. But creating positive mental habits takes time. It doesn't happen overnight. It requires effort, repetition, and consistency. This is why committing to daily effort is so important. It's the key to building positive mental habits that will serve you for the rest of your life. Now let's talk about how to actually train your mind. First, you need to start your day with intention. The way you start your day sets the tone for the rest of it. If you wake up and let your mind wander, let it go wherever it pleases, then you're setting yourself up for a scattered, unfocused day. But if you start your day with intention, if you take the time to focus your mind on what's important, then you're setting yourself up for success. One of the best ways to do this is through morning meditation or mindfulness. Take a few minutes each morning to sit in silence, breathe deeply, and focus on your goals. This simple practice will help you calm your mind, clear away distractions, and set a positive tone for the day ahead. Another way to train your mind is through journaling. Writing down your thoughts is a powerful way to bring clarity to your mind. When you put your thoughts on paper, you can see what's really going on inside your head. You can identify negative thought patterns and work on shifting them. You can track your progress and celebrate your wins. You can set clear intentions for your day, your week, and your life. Journaling is a simple but effective way to train your mind to stay focused and clear. You also need to practice focus throughout your day. This means eliminating distractions and dedicating time to the tasks that matter most. It means putting away your phone, turning off the TV, and creating a space where you can work with full focus. If you want to train your mind to be sharp and focused, you have to give it the time and space it needs to concentrate. Don't let distractions rob you of your mental energy. Take control of your environment and create a space that supports your goals. Finally, you need to commit to being consistent. Consistency is what turns daily effort into lasting change. It's easy to be motivated for a day or two, but the real power comes from showing up every single day, no matter how you feel. The more consistently you train your mind, the stronger it becomes. The more you commit to daily effort, the more your mind will work for you instead of against you. Training your mind isn't easy, but it's one of the most important things you can do for yourself. It's the foundation for everything else in your life. If you can train your mind, you can train your life. So commit today to daily effort, calm and focus your mind. Build the mental resilience you need to push through challenges. Create positive mental habits that will serve you for the rest of your life. And remember, the key to success isn't just working hard. It's working smart. It's controlling your mind so that it can work for you. Make that commitment today and watch how it transforms your life. Number 2, challenge common belief that mind training requires hours. People often hear that in order to train the mind, you need to spend hours sitting in silence, meditating, or performing long, complicated exercises. It's a widely held belief that mind training is a time-consuming process that requires an enormous amount of discipline and patience. But what if I told you that's not the case? What if I told you that you don't need hours to train your mind effectively? That in fact, you can make significant progress by investing just a few focused minutes each day. You see, the truth is that mind training doesn't require endless hours of practice. It's not about how much time you spend. It's about how effectively you use the time you do have. Mind training is not about quantity. It's about quality. It's about giving yourself the tools to shift your thinking, focus your mind, and improve your overall mental state. Whether it's 5 minutes or 30 minutes, what matters is how you approach the training, not the time spent doing it. The misconception that mind training takes hours comes from the idea that it has to be a complex and drawn-out process. Some people believe that in order to improve mental focus, they need to engage in lengthy meditations or complicated mental exercises. But that's just not true. Mind training can be simple, effective, and most importantly, sustainable. The key to training your mind isn't how long you train. It's how consistently you train. And that's something you can do in small, manageable chunks throughout your day. We live in a world where we are constantly busy. Our schedules are packed with meetings, responsibilities, and obligations. Many of us struggle to find time for everything, let alone to carve out hours for mind training. But this is where the real power lies. You don't need hours to make progress. What you need is intentional, focused effort. You can train your mind in small, bite-sized moments that fit into your daily routine. These small moments are where the real change happens. Let's talk about how you can use those small moments to your advantage. You don't need to block out an hour of your day to sit in silence and train your mind. Instead, you can take a few minutes here and there to engage in simple practices that will sharpen your focus, calm your thoughts, and train your mind to work for you. For example, one of the most powerful tools you can use is mindfulness. Mindfulness doesn't require hours of practice. It simply requires that you bring your attention to the present moment. You can practice mindfulness while you're waiting for your coffee to brew, while walking to your car, or even while taking a break from work. It's not about how much time you have. It's about making the most of the time you do have. Another way to train your mind without needing hours is through focused breathing exercises. Take just a minute or two throughout the day to focus on your breath. Inhale slowly, hold, and exhale deeply. Repeat this process a few times, and you'll notice that your mind starts to calm. It doesn't require hours, but it has a profound impact on your mental state. These quick breathing exercises can be done anywhere, at your desk, in the car, or even while standing in line at the grocery store. It's a simple yet effective way to train your mind in a short amount of time. Training your mind also involves strengthening your mental resilience. This can be done through brief moments of self-reflection and mental challenge. For example, when faced with a stressful situation, instead of reacting impulsively, take a moment to pause and evaluate the situation. What's really going on here? What's the best way to respond? This mental pause can be done in a matter of seconds, but it allows you to reset your mindset and approach the situation with a clearer, more focused mind. These small moments of reflection, though brief, add up over time and train your mind to be more resilient and adaptable. In addition, you can use brief mental challenges to strengthen your focus and mental discipline. For example, challenge yourself to stay fully focused on a task for 5 minutes without checking your phone, getting distracted by external noise, or allowing your mind to wander. At first, it may feel difficult, but over time, you'll find that these small challenges help you build mental strength and focus. You don't need to sit for hours to improve your focus. You just need to give yourself small, manageable challenges throughout the day. The truth is that the mind is like a muscle. Just like you don't need to spend hours at the gym to see progress, you don't need to spend hours on mind training. What's important is consistency. The more consistently you train your mind, the stronger it becomes. And the best part is, you can train your mind throughout the day, in the small pockets of time you already have. You don't need to carve out hours to see results. You just need to commit to making the most of the time you do have. If you're still skeptical, consider this: some of the most successful people in the world don't spend hours each day training their minds. They take a few minutes each morning to set their intentions. They practice mindfulness in the small moments of their day, and they intentionally focus their minds on what's important. They understand that success doesn't come from spending hours on mental training. It comes from doing the work consistently and with focus, no matter how much time you have. In fact, the belief that mind training requires hours can actually be a barrier to progress. When people think they need to dedicate a significant amount of time to training their minds, they often end up putting it off. They feel like they don't have enough time, so they don't do anything at all. This is the trap that most people fall into. But when you realize that mind training can be done in short, focused bursts, it becomes much easier to fit into your day. You no longer have to make excuses about not having enough time. You can just take a few minutes and get to work. What's even more powerful is that these small moments of mind training build momentum over time. The more you commit to training your mind, even in short bursts, the easier it becomes. You'll start to notice that your mind becomes sharper, your focus improves, and your mental resilience grows stronger. These small moments of mental discipline compound over time, leading to big changes in your mental state and overall life. Let's be clear, this isn't about skipping out on long-term focused mental training when it's needed. There will be times when you need to dedicate a longer block of time to deepen your practice or tackle more complex mental challenges. But for the majority of the time, you don't need hours to see results. In fact, trying to train your mind for hours at a time can sometimes have the opposite effect. You may start to feel overwhelmed, frustrated, or burnt out. The key is to find a balance between long-term commitment and short, focused bursts of effort. So here's the real challenge. Challenge the belief that mind training requires hours. Embrace the idea that small, consistent efforts are just as powerful, if not more powerful, than spending hours in deep concentration. Start using the small moments of your day to train your mind. Practice mindfulness, focus your attention, breathe deeply, and set small mental challenges for yourself. Over time, you'll begin to see that these small actions add up to big results. The power is in your hands, and you don't need hours to tap into it. What you need is commitment, consistency, and the willingness to take advantage of the time you already have. The more you challenge the belief that training your mind requires hours, the more you'll discover the freedom that comes with it. You'll realize that you can train your mind in the small moments of your day, and that those small moments are where the real change happens. It's not about how much time you spend, it's about how focused and intentional you are with the time you have. Commit to the process, and watch how quickly your mind transforms. Number 3, practice mindful breathing to steady your inner feelings. When you wake up in the morning, how does it feel? Is your mind racing, full of thoughts, to-do lists, and endless distractions? Or do you feel calm, steady, and clear about your day? Many people don't realize that the state of their mind can be directly influenced by how they breathe. The power of your breath, especially when done mindfully, is something that we often overlook in our busy lives. But breathing is not just something you do automatically. It's a tool you can use to steady your inner feelings, ground yourself, and focus your mind. Let's take a moment to think about it. Have you ever noticed that when you're anxious, stressed, or overwhelmed, your breathing changes? It becomes shallow, quick, and irregular. You may feel your chest tighten or your breath get stuck in your throat. It's a physical response to emotions that your body is trying to process. But the opposite is also true. When you take deep, slow breaths, your mind and body begin to relax. This is where the power of mindful breathing comes into play. By simply paying attention to how you breathe, you can calm yourself, steady your emotions, and regain control of your inner state. Mindful breathing isn't about just taking a deep breath when you're stressed and moving on. It's about being intentional with your breath, about bringing your full awareness to each inhale and exhale. It's about using your breath to anchor yourself to the present moment, to let go of any thoughts or emotions that may be clouding your mind. When you practice mindful breathing, you create space between your thoughts and your reactions, giving yourself the power to respond rather than react. The beauty of mindful breathing is its simplicity. You don't need special equipment, fancy techniques, or long hours of practice. All you need is your breath and the willingness to focus on it. You can practice mindful breathing anywhere and at any time. Whether you're sitting at your desk, walking down the street, or lying in bed, mindful breathing can help you steady your inner feelings and bring calm to your mind. Let's explore the process of mindful breathing. It starts with awareness. Notice your breath. Are you breathing shallowly or deeply? Is your breath fast or slow? The first step is to simply observe without judgment. Don't try to change your breath yet, just become aware of it. This helps you connect with the present moment and ground yourself. Next, begin to intentionally slow your breath. Inhale deeply through your nose, allowing your belly to rise as you fill your lungs with air. Exhale slowly through your mouth, allowing any tension or stress to leave your body. This deep, intentional breathing helps activate your body's relaxation response, signaling to your nervous system that it's time to calm down. As you continue this deep breathing, focus on the sensations of your breath, the cool air entering your nostrils, the rise and fall of your chest, and the feeling of relaxation that washes over you with each exhale. Mindful breathing helps regulate your emotions by creating a sense of stability. It's easy to feel overwhelmed by life's challenges, but when you can pause and take a few deep breaths, you interrupt the cycle of stress and anxiety. You take control of your emotions instead of letting them control you. Mindful breathing also helps you tune into your body, allowing you to become more aware of how you're feeling physically and emotionally. This awareness is crucial for personal growth because it allows you to take intentional action rather than react impulsively. Many people struggle with emotional regulation. They find themselves caught in a cycle of stress, frustration, or anger, and they don't know how to break free. This is where mindful breathing can make a significant impact. By practicing mindful breathing throughout the day, you begin to train yourself to be more present with your emotions. You learn to notice when stress or anxiety is building, and instead of allowing those feelings to escalate, you take a moment to breathe and calm your mind. With practice, this becomes second nature. You don't have to fight your emotions. You can simply breathe through them and find peace in the midst of chaos. Mindful breathing also plays a critical role in decision-making. In times of stress, our decision-making abilities can become clouded. We might make impulsive choices based on fear or anxiety, rather than clarity and rational thought. But when we practice mindful breathing, we give ourselves the space to pause, reflect, and choose how we want to respond. This pause, no matter how brief, can make all the difference in how we handle a situation. Instead of reacting out of emotion, we can respond with calmness and clarity. One of the key benefits of mindful breathing is that it helps you reconnect with your body. In today's fast-paced world, it's easy to become disconnected from our physical selves. We're often so caught up in our thoughts, our worries, and our goals that we forget to tune into how we feel physically. Mindful breathing helps you reconnect with your body, paying attention to the sensations of each breath and noticing how your body reacts to different emotions. This awareness allows you to better understand your emotional triggers and take steps to manage them more effectively. Now, it's important to note that mindful breathing isn't a quick fix. It's not something that will instantly solve all your problems or eliminate all your stress, but it is a powerful tool that, when practiced consistently, can have a profound impact on your emotional well-being. The more you practice mindful breathing, the easier it becomes to stay calm and focused, no matter what life throws your way. The key to making mindful breathing work for you is consistency. Like any skill, it takes practice to master. The more you practice, the more natural it becomes. You'll start to notice that you can calm yourself more quickly during moments of stress. You'll find that you can respond more calmly to challenging situations. You'll experience more emotional stability and mental clarity. This is the power of mindful breathing. It's a tool that you can use anytime, anywhere to steady your inner feelings and regain control of your emotions. So how can you incorporate mindful breathing into your daily routine? It doesn't have to take a lot of time. You can start with just a few minutes each day and gradually increase the time as you become more comfortable with the practice. Start by setting aside a few moments each morning to focus on your breath. You can do this as soon as you wake up, before you start your day. Take a few deep breaths and set your intentions for the day. As you breathe deeply, let go of any tension or worries from the night before. This small practice can help set a positive tone for your entire day. You can also practice mindful breathing throughout the day, whenever you feel stressed, overwhelmed, or disconnected. If you're feeling anxious before a meeting, take a moment to pause and breathe. If you're in the middle of a busy workday and feeling scattered, take a few minutes to center yourself with deep, intentional breaths. You don't need to go anywhere or set aside a long period of time. You can practice mindful breathing anywhere, anytime. The beauty of mindful breathing is that it's a simple yet effective tool for emotional regulation and mental clarity. By making it a regular part of your life, you'll find that you're able to handle stress more effectively, maintain emotional balance, and stay calm in challenging situations. Mindful breathing is a powerful way to steady your inner feelings, bring peace to your mind, and strengthen your emotional resilience. Start today. Take a deep breath. Let go of any stress or tension. Focus on your breath, and let it ground you in the present moment. The more you practice mindful breathing, the more you'll discover its transformative power. It's not about perfection. It's about consistency. Every time you breathe mindfully, you're taking a step toward greater emotional stability, mental clarity, and inner peace. And that's a step worth taking. Number 4, refuse mental laziness by demanding clarity in every thought. The mind is a powerful tool, one that can either serve you or work against you depending on how you choose to train it. Most people go through life with a foggy, cluttered mind, allowing their thoughts to wander aimlessly, giving in to distractions, and never demanding clarity in every thought they have. It's as though they have allowed mental laziness to take root in their minds. But let me tell you this, mental laziness will only hold you back from your potential. If you want to truly achieve greatness, you must refuse to let your mind drift aimlessly, and instead demand clarity in every thought. Now you might be wondering, what exactly does it mean to demand clarity in every thought? It's not just about thinking more, it's about thinking with purpose, intention, and focus. It's about breaking free from the habit of letting your thoughts run wild, and instead taking control over what you think, how you think, and when you think it. It's about refusing to allow your mind to become a jumble of half-formed ideas and distractions, and instead making sure every thought you have is clear, precise, and powerful. This starts with making a conscious decision to refuse mental laziness. You have to recognize when you're slipping into the habit of unclear thinking. It happens to all of us. We've all had those moments when our thoughts feel scattered, when we're not really sure what we're focused on, or when we're stuck in a cycle of distractions. But here's the truth. The mind is like a muscle. It needs exercise, it needs discipline, and it needs you to demand more from it. The moment you let your mind coast, it begins to deteriorate. And once that starts happening, it becomes harder and harder to focus, think clearly, and take action. One of the most powerful things you can do is to take control of your thoughts. If you're not consciously focused, your mind will naturally wander to things that don't serve you. It will focus on distractions, past mistakes, or future worries. Your thoughts will take you down endless rabbit holes that lead nowhere. So, how do you refuse mental laziness? How do you demand clarity in every thought? First, you must learn to be intentional with your thinking. Don't just let your mind wander. Take responsibility for the direction of your thoughts. This requires discipline and the ability to constantly bring your mind back to focus when it tries to escape into distractions. It's not enough to say, "I want to focus," and then let your thoughts go wherever they please. You have to make a firm decision to stay in control of your thoughts, to stay focused on what matters, and to bring your attention back to the present moment when you feel your mind wandering. The second thing you need to do is eliminate mental clutter. Mental clutter is like a pile of junk in your mind. It's all the irrelevant thoughts, fears, doubts, and distractions that fill up your mental space. It's the nagging voice that tells you, you can't do this, or you're not good enough. It's the constant chatter of unimportant things that pull your attention away from what's truly important. To demand clarity in every thought, you must eliminate this clutter. You need to clean up your mental space so that only the most important thoughts have room to occupy your mind. This doesn't happen overnight, but it starts with awareness. Recognize when your mind is cluttered with unimportant thoughts and gently redirect your attention. Focus on the task at hand. If you're working on something, give it your full attention. If you're spending time with someone, focus on the conversation. If you're working on a goal, block out any distractions and give it all of your mental energy. As you do this, you'll begin to notice how much clearer your thoughts become. Your mind will become more organized, more efficient, and more capable of focusing on the things that truly matter. Another powerful strategy to refuse mental laziness is to create a mental routine. Just like how you create a physical routine to keep your body healthy, you must also create a mental routine to keep your mind sharp. This routine doesn't have to be complicated. In fact, simplicity is key. Start by setting aside a specific time each day to focus on your thoughts. It could be as simple as 10 minutes in the morning, or before bed where you sit in silence and reflect. Use this time to clear your mind of distractions and focus on what's most important to you. During this time, practice mindfulness. Pay attention to your thoughts and observe them without judgment. Notice which thoughts are helping you and which ones are holding you back. When you notice a negative or distracting thought, gently redirect your focus back to something positive and productive. This practice will help you build mental discipline and clarity over time. Now let's talk about decision-making. Clarity in your thoughts is crucial for making strong, confident decisions. When your mind is cluttered and unclear, it becomes difficult to make decisions with certainty. You'll second-guess yourself, hesitate, and wonder if you're making the right choice. But when your mind is clear, decisions become easier. You're able to evaluate the situation with a calm, focused mind and make the best choice without hesitation. This is where refusing mental laziness comes into play. If you want to make better decisions, you need to demand clarity in every thought, every time you're faced with a choice. If you're facing a difficult decision, take a step back, breathe, and clear your mind. Don't rush. Don't let your mind become clouded with emotions, fears, or uncertainties. Take the time to focus on the facts and make a rational decision. Trust your ability to think clearly, and don't allow mental laziness to hold you back from making the best choice. Another aspect of refusing mental laziness is taking responsibility for your thoughts. It's easy to blame external circumstances, other people, or your environment for how you feel or what you think. But the truth is, you are the one in control of your thoughts. You have the power to choose what you focus on and how you respond to the world around you. When you take responsibility for your thoughts, you free yourself from the victim mentality. You stop waiting for things to change around you and start taking control of your mental state. The next step in demanding clarity is to be present. So often our thoughts are consumed by the past or the future. We worry about what we did yesterday or what might happen tomorrow. This pulls us out of the present moment, where real clarity exists. To demand clarity, you must be fully present in the moment. Stop worrying about the past or the future. Focus on what's in front of you right now and give it your full attention. When you practice being present, you'll find that your mind becomes sharper, your thoughts become clearer, and you'll be able to make better decisions in the moment. Finally, demanding clarity in every thought requires you to make a decision to take action. Clarity doesn't come from simply thinking about things. It comes from taking action based on those thoughts. When your thoughts are clear, your actions become clear as well. You stop procrastinating, stop overthinking, and start moving forward with purpose. Taking action is the ultimate proof that you've mastered your thoughts. It's the result of demanding clarity in every thought you have. So I want you to ask yourself, are you ready to refuse mental laziness? Are you willing to demand clarity in every thought? Are you ready to take control of your mind and make it work for you instead of against you? The answer to these questions will determine your success in life. It will determine whether you achieve your goals, overcome obstacles, and reach your true potential. Demanding clarity in every thought is not just a good idea, it's a necessity for personal growth. It's the foundation of a focused, disciplined, and empowered mind. If you want to live a life of purpose, success, and fulfillment, you must start by clearing the mental clutter, demanding clarity, and taking control of your thoughts. The choice is yours. Take responsibility for your mind, refuse mental laziness, and start living with clarity today. Number 5. Disrupt your routine by questioning every mental habit. The habits we carry in our minds shape our reality. These mental routines often go unnoticed, operating in the background, guiding us through the motions of everyday life. For most people, their mental habits are automatic, formed over years of repetition. They're the default settings in our minds, the beliefs and thoughts that we don't question, the mental scripts that play without us even thinking about them. But here's the problem. Most of these mental habits are outdated, unproductive, or even detrimental to our growth. If we want to disrupt our current state, take control of our destiny, and push forward to new heights, we need to question these habits. It's time to disrupt your routine. You've been going through the motions for far too long, without stopping to ask yourself whether the way you think, the beliefs you hold, or the decisions you make are really serving your highest potential. This is where the magic happens. When you begin to question everything, we don't just want to change what you do. We need to change the way you think, and that starts with questioning your mental habits. Let's start by recognizing that most of us never challenge the way we think. We take our mental habits as truths. We assume the way we think is the way it should be. But mental habits, like anything else, can become obsolete or harmful. They're just patterns we've repeated over and over. Maybe it's the mental habit of being critical of ourselves when we make mistakes, or the habit of doubting our abilities before we even try. Maybe it's a habit of procrastination, letting fear dictate whether or not we take action. Whatever the habit is, it's time to disrupt it. And that disruption starts with questioning every single mental habit you've built. Think about the last time you faced a challenge or a difficult situation. What was your first reaction? Did you panic, hesitate, or talk yourself out of the situation? If you're like most people, you probably have a set of automatic mental responses that kick in. These are your mental habits. Now ask yourself, are these responses helping me or hindering me? Are they moving me closer to my goals, or are they keeping me stuck in my comfort zone? Disrupting your routine means disrupting those automatic responses. It means pausing and questioning the thoughts that come up in those moments. It means looking at those familiar mental habits and saying, is this thought serving me? Is this pattern moving me forward? You have to challenge your mental status quo. Challenge the beliefs you've accepted as truth. Challenge the thoughts that have shaped the way you view yourself and the world around you. The moment you start questioning these thoughts, you open yourself up to new possibilities, new ways of thinking, and new ways of being. Most people live their lives by the same mental routines they've been using for years, but rarely do they question them. This is a huge problem. The truth is, many of our mental habits are influenced by outside sources, society, family, friends, even past experiences. These external influences shape the way we think and how we see the world. But what if those influences aren't aligned with your goals or your true potential? What if the way you've been taught to think isn't serving you in the way you need it to? This is why questioning every mental habit is so important. Take, for example, the mental habit of avoiding discomfort. Many people have learned that avoiding discomfort is the best way to live. They've been taught that feeling uncomfortable is something to be avoided at all costs. But the truth is, discomfort is where growth happens. When you're uncomfortable, you're stretching yourself, challenging your limits, and expanding your capabilities. By questioning this mental habit of avoiding discomfort, you begin to shift your mindset. You realize that discomfort is not a sign to retreat, but a sign to push forward. This simple shift in thinking can be the key to unlocking your full potential. Now let's talk about the habit of self-doubt. How often do you find yourself doubting your abilities? How often do you second-guess yourself before taking action? This is one of the most common mental habits that holds people back from achieving their goals. But here's the thing. Doubt is a choice. You can choose to trust yourself. You can choose to believe in your abilities, even if you've failed in the past. When you start questioning the habit of self-doubt, you begin to replace it with confidence and belief in your own capabilities. This mental shift can open doors that you never thought were possible. Another powerful habit that many people don't question is the habit of perfectionism. The need to get everything perfect before taking action can paralyze you. It's a mental habit that holds you back from starting, from moving forward, and from taking risks. Perfectionism often stems from fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of not measuring up. But the truth is, perfection is an illusion. There is no perfect time to start, no perfect plan, no perfect way to do anything. The key is to stop waiting for perfection and start taking action, even if it's messy. By questioning the habit of perfectionism, you allow yourself to embrace progress over perfection, which leads to growth and success. So how do you begin questioning your mental habits? The first step is awareness. Start by paying attention to the thoughts that run through your mind on a daily basis. Notice when you have automatic reactions to situations. Pay attention to the mental patterns that kick in without you even thinking about them. Once you become aware of these mental habits, you can start to challenge them. Ask yourself, why do I think this way? Is this thought helping me or hindering me? When you begin questioning your thoughts, you open yourself up to a new level of clarity and insight. You'll start to see which mental habits are holding you back and which ones are empowering you. And once you identify the habits that are not serving you, you can start replacing them with new, more empowering habits. The next step is to take action. It's not enough to simply recognize your mental habits. You have to actively work to disrupt them. This requires commitment and discipline. Every time you catch yourself slipping into an old mental habit, take a moment to challenge it. Ask yourself whether it's truly serving your growth. If not, replace it with a more productive thought or behavior. This process takes time, but the more you practice it, the easier it becomes. When you disrupt your routine and question every mental habit, you start to break free from the mental limitations that have held you back. You begin to expand your thinking, unlock your creativity, and open yourself up to new opportunities. The mental habits that once controlled you no longer have the same power. You take back control, and your life starts to change. But let's not sugarcoat it. It's not always easy. Questioning your mental habits means confronting uncomfortable truths about yourself. It means being honest about the areas where you've been holding yourself back. It means being willing to let go of old beliefs, old fears, and old ways of thinking that no longer serve you. But this is where true transformation happens. When you disrupt your routine, you disrupt the mental blocks that have been keeping you stuck. And once those blocks are removed, there's nothing stopping you from achieving your dreams. To truly disrupt your mental habits, you must make a conscious effort every single day. Make it a priority to question your thoughts, question your beliefs, and question your behaviors. Don't accept things at face value. Don't go through life blindly following the same patterns. Challenge yourself to think differently, act differently, and ultimately, live differently. This is the path to growth. This is the path to unlocking your true potential. So ask yourself today, what mental habits are you holding on to? What beliefs are keeping you stuck? And are you willing to disrupt your routine to question them? If the answer is yes, then get ready for a transformation. The best version of yourself is waiting on the other side of that disruption. It's time to break free from the mental habits that no longer serve you and create a new reality for yourself. The power is in your hands. Number 6. Focus on gratitude to shift your mood each day. I want you to consider something. Every single day, you have the ability to shift your mood. You might not have control over all the circumstances you face, but you always have the power to control how you respond. And one of the most powerful tools for shaping your mood and mindset is gratitude. Gratitude isn't just about saying thank you or acknowledging the good things in your life. It's a way of thinking, a way of perceiving the world around you. It's a mindset that changes everything. Think about it for a moment. How often do you wake up and immediately feel overwhelmed by everything that needs to get done? How often do you find yourself focusing on the things that aren't going right? Most of us are wired to focus on problems and challenges, to look for what's missing or what's not perfect. But here's the catch. When you focus on what's wrong, you amplify those negative feelings. You magnify the frustration, the stress, and the dissatisfaction. Now, what if, instead of focusing on what's not going well, you focused on what you're thankful for? What if at the start of your day, you made a conscious decision to look for the good in your life, to appreciate the things you already have? Think about the difference that would make. When you shift your focus to gratitude, you shift your entire mindset. You change your energy. You change your perspective. You change your mood. Here's the truth. Life is never perfect. There will always be challenges, setbacks, and tough moments. But in every situation, there's something to be thankful for. Maybe it's the roof over your head, the people you love, the ability to learn and grow, the opportunity to try again. Gratitude is about recognizing the abundance that's already in your life, even when things aren't going the way you want them to. When you focus on the things you're grateful for, you start to realize just how much you have, and that realization can be incredibly powerful. It lifts you up. It brings light to your mind. It fills you with a sense of peace and contentment. Gratitude isn't something you do once in a while when things are going well. It's something you practice every single day. And the more you practice it, the more natural it becomes. It starts to change the way you see the world. Instead of automatically focusing on what's wrong, you begin to see what's right. Instead of getting bogged down by complaints, you start counting your blessings. And as you do, you'll notice a shift in your mood. It's like flipping a switch. Your mind becomes clearer. Your stress begins to melt away. You start to feel more grounded and at peace. But I'm not saying that it's always easy. Life can throw some serious challenges your way. Some days it might feel like the world is against you. It's easy to get caught up in negativity, to fall into a cycle of worry and frustration. But this is where the power of gratitude comes in. When you focus on gratitude, you're actively choosing a different way of thinking. You're refusing to let your circumstances dictate your mood. You're taking control of your mind and your emotions, and you're choosing to see the good, even on the hardest days. Let me give you a simple example. Imagine you're having a really tough day. Maybe you've got a lot on your plate at work, or there's tension in a relationship, or you're just feeling overwhelmed by the weight of it all. It's easy to focus on the stress, the pressure, and the things that are going wrong. But what if, instead of letting that negativity take over, you paused for a moment and took stock of what's going well? What if you focused on the small things that you can be grateful for? Maybe it's the fact that you have a job to go to, the friends who support you, the food on your table. Maybe it's the simple gift of being alive. of having the ability to breathe and move and think. These are the things that often get overlooked, but when you focus on them, they shift your energy. Gratitude doesn't just change how you feel, it also impacts your behavior. When you focus on gratitude, you start to become more patient, more understanding, and more compassionate. You start to appreciate the people around you more deeply. You treat yourself with more kindness. You become less critical of others and more focused on the positive. This shift in mindset can have a profound effect on your relationships, your work, and your overall well-being. But here's the catch. Gratitude is a habit. It's not something that just happens on its own. You have to make the conscious decision every day to focus on what you're grateful for, and that takes practice. You might not always feel like it. Some days it might feel like there's nothing to be thankful for. But even on those days, you can find something. Maybe it's a beautiful sunset, a moment of laughter, a kind word from a friend. No matter what, there's always something to be grateful for, even if it's as simple as having the chance to start a new day. So how do you start this practice? One of the easiest ways is to begin each day by listing 3 things you're grateful for. These can be big things or small things, anything that makes you feel thankful. Write them down or say them out loud. The act of acknowledging them helps to set the tone for your day. You'll find that the more you do this, the more natural it becomes to focus on gratitude. Over time, it becomes less of a conscious effort and more of a natural part of your mindset. Another powerful practice is to keep a gratitude journal. At the end of each day, write down at least 3 things you're thankful for. This doesn't have to be a long entry, just a simple list of things that brought you joy, peace, or a sense of appreciation. It could be anything from a great conversation you had to the feeling of your favorite cup of coffee in the morning. By making gratitude a daily habit, you train your mind to look for the good in every situation, no matter how small it may seem. When you begin to make gratitude a consistent part of your daily routine, you'll notice a transformation. Your mindset will shift. Your mood will improve. You'll find yourself facing challenges with more resilience because you've learned to focus on what's working in your life instead of what's not. This shift in perspective can change everything, from how you approach your work to how you deal with relationships, setbacks, and even your own personal growth. Remember, gratitude isn't about ignoring the struggles you face. It's not about pretending that everything is perfect. It's about recognizing that even in the midst of difficulty, there's always something to appreciate. It's about choosing to focus on what's going right, rather than what's going wrong. Gratitude doesn't make your problems disappear, but it does change the way you experience them. It gives you the strength to keep going, to keep moving forward, and to see the opportunities within the challenges. Ultimately, gratitude is a choice. It's a decision to focus on what's good, what's right, and what's possible. It's a way to take control of your mood, your mindset, and your life. So start today. Take the time to focus on what you're grateful for. Shift your mindset, shift your mood, and watch as it transforms every aspect of your life. Number 7, train your awareness to notice and question each thought. Every day you're having thousands of thoughts. They come in quick. They shape how you feel, how you act, how you speak, how you carry yourself, and how you live. But here's the truth. Most people aren't paying attention to what they're thinking. Most people go through their lives reacting to those thoughts as if they're facts. They believe every thought that pops into their head without ever stopping to ask one very important question. Is this even true? You want to improve your life? You want to feel more in control? You want to be mentally stronger? You start by paying attention to what's going on inside your mind. You train yourself to notice every thought, not just the obvious ones, not just the loud ones, but even the quiet, sneaky thoughts, the ones that sit in the background and whisper things that hold you back. Things like, I'm not good enough. I always mess things up. Nothing ever works out for me. These thoughts don't shout, but they shape your life. And if you don't learn to catch them, they'll keep you small. Awareness is everything. If you don't notice the thought, you can't challenge it. If you don't challenge it, you believe it. If you believe it, you live by it. That's how most people spend their lives, trapped inside the stories they've been telling themselves, without ever asking, where did this come from? Or is this actually helping me? You can't fix what you're not aware of. You can't grow if you don't even see what's holding you back. So you've got to train your mind like a muscle. And just like training your body, it takes effort, patience, and daily work. Start by slowing down. You don't need to meditate for hours. You just need a few moments of silence where you can check in with yourself. Ask yourself, what am I thinking right now? Do this when you wake up, before you respond to something that upsets you. When you feel off but don't know why. Don't brush it off. Pay attention. Listen closely. Thoughts are the first layer. If you want to change the way you feel, if you want to shift your mindset, you start at the level of thought. And here's what you'll find. Most of your thoughts are recycled. You're not having brand new thoughts every day. You're repeating what you've been thinking for years. Same doubts, same worries, same fears. Your mind is on autopilot. It's been programmed by your past, your childhood, your mistakes, your environment, your insecurities. They've all had a say in shaping the way you think. But none of that has to be permanent. You can reprogram your mind, but only if you notice what's playing on the tape. When you catch a thought, don't just let it sit there. Question it. Where did this come from? Is this helping me or hurting me? Would I say this to someone I love? What if this isn't true at all? This is how you break the cycle. This is how you take your power back. Because once you question the thought, it loses its grip on you. It no longer controls your emotions, your decisions, or your future. And listen, some thoughts will try to fight back, especially the ones that have been around the longest. The ones that are tied to fear, shame, or failure. They don't want to be questioned. They want to stay in the dark, but you've got to shine the light. You've got to have the courage to challenge everything. Even the beliefs you've held for years, especially those. That's where the real work is. That's where the breakthroughs happen. You'll hear a voice that says, I'll never be good at this. Ask it. Says who? You'll think, this is just the way I am. Ask yourself, what if that's just a story I've been repeating? You'll say, I can't handle this. Push back and say, I've handled worse before. This is how you train your awareness. This is how you build a mind that works for you, not against you. Nobody's coming to do this for you. You can read every book, watch every video, go to every seminar, but until you start noticing and questioning your own thoughts, nothing will change. You can't outsource awareness. This is your job. This is your responsibility. It's your mind. Own it. Take charge of it. Respect it enough to clean it out. And when you start doing this consistently, you'll begin to see patterns. You'll notice that certain thoughts come up in specific situations. Maybe when you're about to take a risk. Maybe when you're stepping into something new. Maybe when you're feeling vulnerable. These thoughts aren't random. They've been trained to show up at those exact moments. Why? Because your brain wants to keep you safe. It wants you to avoid pain. But growth lives outside of that safety. And to grow, you need to start thinking for yourself, not letting fear do the thinking for you. There's a deeper truth here. Your life moves in the direction of your dominant thoughts. If most of your thoughts are about failure, doubt, and fear, then your life will reflect that. But if your thoughts are rooted in growth, responsibility, learning, and possibility, you'll create a different life. And again, this doesn't happen by accident. It happens through awareness. It happens through daily effort. You can't fix in a day what's been building for years, but you can start. And every time you do, you get stronger. Every time you question a thought that used to control you, you take back a piece of your freedom. This is mental discipline at its finest. Not letting every thought run wild. Not letting your mind tell you who you are without your permission. You don't just accept every thought as the truth. You examine it. You observe it. You challenge it. And if it doesn't serve your growth, you don't keep it. You don't let it stay. You don't feed it. You don't give it energy. There's something else to remember. You are not your thoughts. You are the observer. You are the thinker behind the thought. And the moment you understand that, you create space. You no longer get swept away by every mental impulse. You learn to pause. You learn to choose. You learn to respond with clarity instead of reacting out of habit. That's real power. And here's the beautiful part. This is something you can do anywhere. You don't need a special place. You don't need special tools. You just need a few minutes a day to tune in. Start with just noticing. When a thought comes in, don't run from it. Don't attach to it. Just notice it. Label it. Say to yourself, that's doubt, or that's fear, or that's comparison. This small step creates awareness, and awareness gives you options. You don't need to control every thought. That's not the goal. The goal is to stop being controlled by them, to stop living your life based on assumptions, distortions, and fears that were never true to begin with. When you train your awareness, you start to see things for what they really are, not what your fear says they are, not what your insecurity says they are, but what they actually are. This process might feel uncomfortable at first. Looking at your thoughts means facing some things you've been avoiding, but it's worth it, because on the other side of that discomfort is freedom, clarity, peace, confidence, and the ability to create a life that actually reflects who you really are, not who your thoughts tell you to be. Remember this: every powerful person you admire, every strong leader, every calm and centered individual, they've trained their awareness. They've developed the habit of questioning their thoughts. They don't just let their mind run wild. They observe, they challenge, they correct. And because of that, they lead themselves with purpose. You can do the same, but you have to want it. You have to care enough about your mind to invest time in it. Just like you care about your physical health, you need to care about your mental clarity. You need to care about the quality of your thinking, because that's what determines the quality of your life. So from now on, make it your daily habit to pause and pay attention. Don't let a single day go by where you're not at least checking in with your thoughts. Start simple. 1 or 2 minutes in the morning. Ask yourself, what's running through my mind right now? Don't judge it, just notice, and then ask, does this help me? If the answer is no, start working on changing that narrative. Start planting better thoughts. Start rewriting the script. This is the work. This is what separates people who drift through life from those who lead it with strength. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be committed. Awareness takes practice. It takes patience. But the rewards are life-changing. A mind that serves you, not sabotages you. A mind that works with you, not against you. A mind that reflects your strength, your values, your clarity. So start today. Train your awareness. Question every thought. Don't accept anything without thinking it through. You owe it to yourself to live with a mind that supports your best life. And that starts the moment you decide to stop living on autopilot and start leading your life with intention. Number 8. Strengthen your willpower by setting clear mental goals. Willpower is not just about resisting temptation. It's not just about saying no to distractions or pushing through discomfort. At its core, willpower is the force that drives your ability to follow through on what matters to you. And the truth is, most people don't lack willpower. They lack direction. They have no clear mental target. They wake up and expect to be strong, focused, and disciplined without any structure. That's like expecting a car to move without steering. Your willpower needs a path. It needs a clear purpose to lock onto. It doesn't thrive in confusion. It thrives when you give it something meaningful to fight for. The biggest mistake people make is thinking that willpower is some mysterious force that comes and goes depending on how they feel. But that's not the case. Willpower is trainable. It gets stronger when you use it consistently, with intention. But here's the key. You must set clear mental goals. Vague hopes don't move the needle. Saying, I want to improve means nothing without specifics. Saying, I'll try to be better today gives your mind nothing to work with. If you want to strengthen your will, you need to give it something real to aim at. When you set a clear mental goal, your energy gets direction. Your focus sharpens. Your behavior starts to align with the outcome you've chosen. You're no longer reacting to the day. You're leading it. That's how you build strength, by making decisions in advance. You decide what matters. You define what progress looks like. You create a plan in your mind, and then you hold yourself to it. That's how discipline is formed. Not by accident, but by deliberate clarity. Think about it. If you start your day saying, today I'm going to focus deeply on my work from 9 a.m. to noon, with no distractions, your mind has something specific to support. When distractions come, you're not surprised. You're ready. You remind yourself of your goal, and you stick with it. That's how you train willpower. In moments where it would be easy to drift, you anchor yourself back to your decision. But if you don't have that clear internal decision set beforehand, you'll lose that moment. You'll give in, not because you're weak, but because you were vague. Clarity fuels commitment. The more specific your mental goals are, the easier it becomes to stay consistent. You know what to do. You know what to say yes to. You know what to say no to. That's where your strength starts to multiply. And here's the beautiful part. Every time you follow through on a clear goal, your belief in yourself grows. Every time you do what you said you would, even when it's hard, you build more trust in your own character. That trust becomes the foundation of mental toughness. You don't need massive goals to build strong willpower. What you need are clear, achievable daily goals that stretch you just enough. You start small, but you stay consistent. It could be something like, I will not check social media until after I finish my top 3 priorities. Or I will speak to myself with respect and not self-criticism today. Or I will drink only water today and avoid junk food. These are not just habits, they're mental commands. And when you execute them, you condition your brain to take you seriously. When you fail to follow through, you're not just breaking a plan, you're breaking your own self-respect. You're sending a message to yourself that your word doesn't matter. That weakens your will over time. It makes your goals feel less possible. That's why you must set goals that are not just clear but also realistic for the moment you're in. Don't try to do everything at once. Pick one thing, commit to it, and deliver. That single act strengthens your internal authority. Mental goals are not about achievement. They're about identity. When you set a clear mental goal, you're saying, this is who I am. And this is what I expect from myself. You don't need anyone else to validate it. You don't need applause. You don't even need results right away. You just need to hold yourself accountable to the process. That's where strength is built. Not in the outcomes, but in the consistency of honoring your own word. And yes, there will be moments you feel tired, days where your mind wants to give up. That's when your mental goal becomes your anchor. You remember what you decided. You remember why it matters, and you act in alignment, not with your feelings, but with your commitment. This is the discipline that forges character, doing the right thing not just when it's easy, but especially when it's not. Setting mental goals means you lead with purpose. You decide how you want to think, speak, and behave. You set a standard for your mindset. You define what matters before the day tests you. You don't wait until stress hits. You prepare your mind early. You decide, no matter what happens today, I will stay calm under pressure, or I will not speak negatively to myself. No matter what mistakes I make, that kind of mental clarity becomes armor. It protects you from falling into old patterns. It protects you from emotional sabotage. It protects you from drifting. People don't lose their willpower because life is hard. They lose it because they didn't have a clear map to begin with. They let their goals be vague. They let their mind stay on autopilot. But that's not you. You're here to lead yourself. You're here to become mentally sharp. And that begins with clarity. If you don't like how you're showing up each day, check your mental goals. Are they clear enough? Are they real enough? Are they rooted in your values? Or are they just wishful thinking? You don't rise to the level of motivation. You rise to the level of your preparation. You rise to the quality of your internal decisions. That's what strengthens willpower. Having a clear target and refusing to let yourself off the hook. Not out of punishment, but out of respect. You respect yourself enough to follow through. You respect your future enough to discipline your mind now. And here's something powerful. Every clear mental goal you set is like a signal to your brain. It says, this is where we're going. Your brain loves direction. It wants to know what matters. It wants to focus, but it needs you to take the lead. When you give it a clear instruction, it starts filtering your thoughts, emotions, and decisions to support that. It starts working with you, not against you. You'll still face resistance. That's part of the process. Your old habits will want to pull you back. Your mind will try to bargain. Just skip it today, or you can start tomorrow, or it's not that big of a deal. But when you've set a clear mental goal, you have something stronger to lean on. You can say, no, I've already decided. This is what I'm doing today. And you move forward, even if it's just 1 inch at a time. There's deep confidence that comes from doing what you said you would. You don't need to brag about it. You don't need to tell the world. You feel it in your posture, in your presence, in the way you carry yourself. That's the quiet power of a person with trained willpower. You don't have to talk about your goals. You live them. You don't wait for the right mood. You follow your mental plan. And remember, this doesn't happen once. It's not a switch you flip. It's a system you build. Every morning you set your mind. You decide what you will focus on. You decide how you will handle challenges. You decide how you will speak to yourself. These are not just thoughts, they are instructions for your life. And the more clearly you set them, the more powerful your actions become. Eventually it becomes who you are. You no longer need to force willpower. It flows naturally, because your mind has been trained to support the life you've chosen. That's what mastery looks like. That's what clarity leads to. Not more pressure, but more peace. Not more struggle, but more control. So start now. Don't wait for tomorrow. Pick one clear mental goal for today. Write it down. Say it to yourself. Lock it in, and then live by it. When resistance shows up, remind yourself of the goal. When emotions try to throw you off, come back to what you decided. When doubt whispers in your ear, stay anchored in your commitment. You don't need a miracle. You don't need more motivation. You need clarity. Clear mental goals. That's how you strengthen your willpower. That's how you rise above your habits. That's how you become the person you've always had the potential to be. Decide what matters. Set the standard, and then show up for it. Again and again, until your mind knows without a doubt that you are the one in charge. Number 9. Set aside distractions to listen and feel your thoughts. In a world full of noise, distractions, and constant stimuli, it's easy to lose touch with ourselves. Our thoughts get buried beneath the incessant pull of notifications, the background hum of conversations, and the pressure of tasks that demand our attention. Yet, in this rush, we miss something crucial. We miss the opportunity to truly listen to our own minds. We neglect the chance to feel the currents of our inner world. But what if the key to clarity, focus, and emotional balance lay in setting aside all those distractions and simply listening to our own thoughts? There's a power in silence, a profound force in pausing everything and creating space to hear what's inside. When you're constantly distracted by the outside world, you're allowing external noise to dictate your state of mind. You're letting outside events dictate how you feel, how you react, and how you think. But when you set aside distractions, you take control of your mind. You become the observer of your thoughts, the one who decides which ones to entertain and which ones to let go of. To truly listen to your thoughts, you need to create a space of intentional silence. This doesn't just mean turning off your phone or stepping away from a busy environment for a few minutes. It means setting aside time to be present with your mind without any interference. This could be a few minutes every morning or evening, or even several hours if you're able to carve out that time. The goal is not just to be physically away from distractions, but to be mentally away as well. When you do this, you open the door to self-awareness, and with that awareness comes the power to shape your thoughts, your emotions, and your actions. How often do you pause during the day and truly listen to your thoughts? Not just when you're thinking about the next task, but when you're aware of your mind's chatter, its biases, its judgments, and its automatic reactions. Most of us don't take the time to notice these things. We get caught up in the fast pace of life, reacting without ever stopping to evaluate the thoughts that fuel those reactions. And because we don't listen, we end up perpetuating old patterns, negative self-talk, and automatic decisions that aren't in line with who we truly want to be. The first step in listening to your thoughts is to become aware of them. Take a moment to pause. Step back from your daily rush and simply notice what's going on inside your head. What thoughts are you having right now? Are they helpful or harmful? Are they focused on the future, the past, or the present? Are they filled with judgment, self-criticism, or optimism? Simply observe. Don't try to change anything yet. Just notice what's there. The second step is to feel your thoughts. This may sound strange, but emotions are tied to thoughts. The thoughts you entertain will create emotional responses in your body. For example, if you're thinking about a problem, your body might tense up, your heart rate might increase, and you might start to feel anxious. On the other hand, if you're thinking about something you're grateful for, you might feel warmth or peace. By tuning into how your body responds to your thoughts, you can gain deeper insight into your emotional state. When you set aside distractions and really tune into what's going on inside, you start to realize that your thoughts and emotions are not random. They are connected, and they are within your control. Most people spend their days running from one task to the next, trying to keep up with the endless demands of life. But if you want to grow, if you want to improve, you must first understand what's happening in your mind. You need to know what you're thinking before you can make any real changes. Without this awareness, you're like a ship with no compass, drifting aimlessly in the sea of your own thoughts. The ability to set aside distractions and truly listen to your thoughts is essential for growth. It's only when you do this that you can begin to recognize patterns in your thinking that might be holding you back. You can begin to recognize limiting beliefs, irrational fears, and negative self-talk. These thoughts, if left unchecked, can influence your behavior in ways you might not even realize. They can cause you to act impulsively, to avoid certain situations, or to give up on your goals before you even try. But when you listen to your thoughts, when you give yourself the space to observe them without judgment, you gain clarity. You start to recognize which thoughts are serving you and which ones are sabotaging your progress. This awareness is the first step in changing those thoughts, and by extension, changing your behavior. You can start to choose more empowering thoughts, more positive beliefs, and more rational perspectives. By doing so, you begin to shift the course of your life. In the process of listening to your thoughts, you also begin to understand your emotional patterns. You'll notice how certain thoughts trigger specific emotions. You'll realize how stress, anxiety, and fear are often linked to your thinking patterns. But you'll also begin to see the opposite, how calm, clarity, and joy are linked to positive, empowering thoughts. When you realize this connection, you can begin to make conscious choices about how to react in different situations. You can start to choose thoughts that calm your mind, that focus your energy, and that help you stay grounded, no matter what's happening around you. But the key here is setting aside distractions. When you're constantly distracted by your phone, by the news, by other people, or by your to-do list, you're giving away your mental energy. You're letting the world dictate your thoughts. You're letting outside forces control your internal state. But when you intentionally set aside time to listen to your thoughts, whether through meditation, journaling, or simply sitting in silence, you're reclaiming that control. You're choosing to tune out the external noise and focus inward. You're choosing to listen to yourself, and that's where real growth begins. Another important aspect of this practice is creating space to question your thoughts. When you hear a thought, don't just accept it as truth. Ask yourself, is this thought accurate? Is it helpful? Is it aligned with my values and goals? Often we believe our thoughts without questioning them. We let them run on autopilot, allowing them to dictate how we feel and act. But when you set aside distractions and become more aware of your thoughts, you can start to challenge them. You can start to ask yourself, is this thought serving me? And what would happen if I thought something different? This process of questioning your thoughts is empowering. It allows you to take control of your mental landscape. It helps you separate your identity from your thoughts, so you no longer feel as though every thought is a reflection of who you are. Thoughts are just thoughts. They are not facts. They do not define you. And by listening to them, questioning them, and choosing which ones to keep, you can begin to reshape your mindset and your life. The more you practice setting aside distractions and listening to your thoughts, the more skilled you will become at identifying the root cause of your emotions. You will begin to see how your thoughts influence your behavior, how your beliefs shape your actions, and how your mindset determines your success. And you will start to feel more in control, more intentional, and more focused. You'll become the master of your own mind, and that's where true power lies. In the end, the practice of setting aside distractions to listen to and feel your thoughts is not just about quieting your mind for a few moments of peace. It's about creating a deep connection with yourself. It's about understanding the inner workings of your mind, recognizing the thoughts that shape your reality, and taking conscious control of your mental and emotional state. By doing this, you give yourself the tools to create a life of purpose, clarity, and strength. You stop being a passive observer of your thoughts, and you become an active participant in your own growth. Number 10. Push yourself through doubts with disciplined mental exercises. Doubt doesn't wait for permission. It shows up when you're working on something new, when you're trying to grow, when you're just starting, and even when you've been consistent for a long time. It's subtle, often dressed up as logic, disguised as caution, cloaked in the illusion of protecting you from failure. But doubt isn't there to help you. It exists to slow you down, to create mental resistance, to keep you from pushing forward. And the only way to handle it is not by ignoring it, but by confronting it directly with discipline. If you wait for doubt to disappear on its own, you'll wait forever. If you expect to feel ready before moving, you'll miss every opportunity in front of you. You have to decide that moving forward, despite doubt, is the real strength. You have to train your mind like an athlete trains their body daily, deliberately, and without compromise. When your mind is clouded with uncertainty, you must respond with structure. When fear starts to talk, you need to give your mind instructions. When hesitation creeps in, the answer is not to debate it, but to lean into habits that strengthen your resolve. That's what disciplined mental exercises are for. They're not motivational tricks. They are tools that rewire your thinking through repetition and intention. They help you recognize the moments when you start to shrink and give you the mental tools to stand tall and keep moving. Mental discipline starts with awareness. If you don't know what your mind is doing, you're already losing. You have to catch yourself when doubt begins to speak. Is it saying you're not ready? Is it reminding you of past failures? Is it exaggerating the risk and underestimating your ability? Become aware of the script. Doubt always repeats itself. Once you recognize the pattern, you take its power away. The first time you hear it, it might shake you. The second time, you might hesitate. But by the third, fourth, or fifth time, you know what it's trying to do. That's when you start pushing back. Pushing through doubt is not about being reckless. It's not about acting without thinking. It's about recognizing the difference between real risk and imagined fear. Doubt amplifies what might go wrong and silences what could go right. It fixates on uncertainty and ignores your potential. Disciplined thinking brings your focus back to facts. It grounds you in what you can control. That's where power begins, in returning your mind to what's solid, what's certain, and what's in your hands. You don't develop this clarity by accident. You train for it, just like you would lift weights to strengthen your body. You perform mental reps to build strength in your thinking. These reps can be as simple as journaling your fears and writing down a direct response to each one. If doubt says, you don't have what it takes, your mental exercise is to write down the truth. I have what I need to take the next step, and that's enough. You do this over and over until your brain knows what to do when the doubt shows up again. You train it to look for logic, not fear. Another exercise is mental visualization, seeing yourself pushing through discomfort, imagining the outcome you're working toward, and reminding your brain of the vision behind your discipline. When doubt tries to narrow your focus to the obstacles, you deliberately zoom out and remember why you started. This is not wishful thinking. It's a strategy. What you picture in your mind shapes how you act. If you only see danger, you'll stay still. If you picture progress, your steps will follow. Discipline also shows up in the way you speak to yourself. Many people don't even notice how destructive their inner voice can be. It says things they would never say to another person, yet they accept those thoughts as truth. If you want to build mental strength, you must train yourself to speak differently. No more "I can't," "I'm not ready," or "what if I fail?" Instead, replace those with, "I will figure this out. I've prepared for this moment, and doubt doesn't decide what I do." Say these enough times, and they become your mental armor. They form the foundation that holds you up when your emotions want to pull you down. The people who rise are not the ones who feel the least doubt. They are the ones who discipline their minds to keep going anyway. They are the ones who sit with their discomfort and keep moving forward. They are not waiting for motivation. They are building mental routines, structured ways of thinking that they return to every day. Whether it's repeating affirmations in the morning, reviewing their goals at night, journaling through their uncertainty, or pausing throughout the day to reset their mindset, they are constantly shaping their thoughts through consistent effort. It's important to understand that mental discipline is not about perfection. You will still have bad days. You will still hear the voice of doubt. The goal is not to eliminate it, but to reduce its influence. You want it to become background noise, not the voice that runs the show. And the only way to do that is to keep pushing through with mental exercises that keep you grounded, focused, and intentional. You can also create a daily habit of asking better questions. When doubt says, "What if this doesn't work?" You ask, what if it does? When it whispers, what if you fail? You answer, what will I learn if I do? Training your mind to respond with questions that lead to strength, not weakness, changes the entire direction of your thought process. Doubt likes to give statements. Your job is to respond with curiosity, logic, and mental strength. When you hit a moment where you want to quit, when you're overwhelmed or uncertain, you need something stronger than feelings to guide you. That's why disciplined mental routines are so essential. Feelings come and go. Discipline is what remains when everything else is chaotic. It's what keeps you moving when nothing feels clear. It's what reminds you who you are when your mind starts to forget. Doubt might knock on the door, but disciplined thinking doesn't let it inside. One of the most powerful exercises you can do is to write out your mental rules, the statements you live by when your confidence starts to fade. These rules can be short and powerful. I don't argue with doubt. I act. I don't shrink in fear. I show up anyway. I don't need to know the whole path. I just take the next step. Keep these rules in your phone, in a notebook, or somewhere you can review them every morning. This is mental conditioning. Over time, you stop reacting emotionally and start responding with purpose. Another key habit is intentional stillness. Doubt thrives in noise and chaos. When you slow everything down and sit with yourself in silence, you strip doubt of its power. In silence, you hear your thoughts clearly. You can separate what's true from what's just fear, pretending to be wisdom. And the more often you make space for silence, the less control doubt has over your mind. Stillness isn't weakness. It's clarity. It's where you meet your real self, away from the influence of pressure, noise, and expectations. All of this comes down to one thing: consistency. You can't do a mental exercise once and expect lasting change. Just like physical strength, mental strength is built through repetition. Every day you show up for your mind, you make it stronger. Every time you respond to doubt with discipline, you gain power. Every moment you choose structure over chaos, you shift your identity. And the more you do this, the more natural it becomes. At some point, you'll realize that doubt hasn't disappeared, but it doesn't affect you the same way. You see it, you hear it, but you don't obey it. You've trained your mind to be stronger than your uncertainty. You've developed tools that keep you moving when it would be easier to stop. You've built a mental discipline that doesn't depend on how you feel. That's the goal. That's the strength that separates those who succeed from those who stall out. And here's the truth that most people overlook. Discipline gives you freedom. When you train your mind, you don't become rigid or robotic. You become free from the control of doubt, fear, and hesitation. You become free to move forward, no matter what your emotions are doing. You gain the freedom to act with clarity in moments when others are stuck in confusion. And that freedom allows you to live fully, to pursue growth relentlessly, and to become the person you were always capable of becoming. It all begins when you stop waiting to feel ready and start training your mind to act anyway. It all changes when you replace reaction with routine, fear with focus, and doubt with deliberate mental effort. This is not just about success. It's about becoming the type of person who doesn't need to be rescued from doubt, because they've already built the strength to walk through it on their own.